Welcome, everybody. It is more than delightful to be here at the Ceres Conference and to be here with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope following last night's reception where for me it was wonderful to reconnect with people who are fighting hard battles in their institutions, but in every instance who are making a difference. I felt the energy last night at our reception. I know a lot of you went out last night. I hope not too late. We've got a busy couple of days, but we're ready to start. We're ready to rock and roll. For those of you who have not been here, who have been here before, welcome back. For those of you who are new to the Ceres Conference, so glad to have you. People often say, what do I like about the Ceres Conference? Now, of course, you're talking to me. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm Mindy Lubber, and I'm the president of Ceres, so of course, I'm supposed to like it. But it is not about liking it. It is not about building a good event. It is not about throwing a lot of staff at a place to have a lot of chairs, a lot of tables, fill a lot of room, and get a lot of registrants. It is very, very different. To me, this event is what Ceres is about, and it is about what gives me hope. Coming together in this room, people come together. They make the choice. People from the corporate world, the financial sector, and the NGO community. Sometimes people who do battle all year, who disagree on an issue, on a product, on a process. But when we come here together, be it in Boston or California or anywhere else, we take on together some of the greatest global challenges, and we believe that together we can find solutions. Audacious yet practical solutions, far-reaching but grounded, inspired, and scalable. And not only to believe we can find solutions, we actually do. We roll up our sleeves, we figure out how to make it happen. It is real, it is the magic of collaboration, of acceleration, and of innovation. And we get it, and we work hard, and we push. And so often, despite struggling, despite the fact that solving some of society's greatest challenges are not easy, we have the will and the commitment to work together and do that. No matter what the challenge, I leave here seeing a can-do spirit, finding a new way, a scalable path for solving some of the big things. And in so doing, I leave inspired, and I believe we inspire together the rest of the world. So what better place than California to be convening at this formidable moment in time when climate change, water risks, political paralysis in Washington are on the agenda. What better time, though, to be in California holding our Ceres annual conference? It is about innovation, and you all bring that to the table every day. It is about collaboration, and we come together and we do that. In a world of disagreements on a lot of hard problems, we put those disagreements aside, we come in, we think about how to bang our heads together, how to knock ourselves out, but how to reach real solutions. So innovate, collaborate, and accelerate. We're here to do that. You may not think this, but I honestly do. Assembled in this room today are 550 of the best and the brightest in the global sustainability movement, every one of you. You may think when you're fighting the battle in your own company, at your own investment firm, in your own NGO, that you're one person who can only do so much. But I am completely convinced, sincere as can be, that this business investor and NGO group of influencers and their leadership, creativity, and collective will are exactly what is needed to find those practical, scalable solutions for the sustainability challenges before us, and those questions and problems we'll talk about over the next 2 days and for the year ahead. So to all of you in this room who are fighting the battles at your own institutions and are here to work hard, thank you for leaving your busy schedules, your homes, your family, your children, to come together. Welcome, and let's get started. Excuse me. Hay fever in California is a special experience. But California is unique beyond giving me worse hay fever symptoms. It's an economy unto itself. It is the 7th largest economy in the world. It has a long and heralded history as a global innovation hub. and as much as anywhere in the world, it is on the front lines of profound sustainability threats, the most obvious one being the epic drought and the specter that current-day parched conditions might really be part of the new normal. This is not a new normal that makes any sense or that will work. And when contrarians have the gall to tell me that climate change is just an environmental issue, and I want to say I'm going to talk a little bit more about climate change today than I might usually do. We're an organization that works on the ESG, environmental, social, and governance issues, but it is an issue that captures everything we all care about. It captures the future of our economy, the environment, jobs, drought, and its impact on people. It captures all of us. So when I think about those who still say that climate change is an environmental issue, I look at California, where rising sea levels threaten the port of San Diego, where warmer temperatures and reduced precipitation have caused this epic drought that is costing the state's economy billions of dollars. With each passing day, it becomes clearer and clearer that climate change is the greatest global social, environmental, and economic challenge facing our planet today, and that the people in this room can act and will act. For many of you who know Ceres, it's a nonprofit organization that 25 years ago began in the aftermath of the Exxon Valdez oil spill. We set out to create a new sustainable business model that could protect the health of the planet and the long-term well-being of the people, all the while strengthening, not limiting, our global economy. We've stayed true to this very day to our vision, and thanks to your support, to your partnership, to your hard work over many years, we have now built a shared vision, a vision that has seen tremendous progress. Let me talk about just a few of the highlights, and maybe a few more than a few, but not too many, that we've seen over the last year. Statistics should be limited, but we are making progress. We're making progress because of what you do every single day. We saw it this past Monday when 125 companies gathered with us and WRI and WWF and Rocky Mountain Institute and BSR to look at how to make purchase agreements around renewable power, the real how to make it happen. We do things like that at all of our events, but the results of all of your hard work are looking at 2/3 of the Fortune 100 companies and 43% of Fortune 500 companies have specific goals for renewable energy sourcing, energy efficiency, and greenhouse gas reductions. And in pursuing these goals, in almost all cases, they're saving billions of dollars and eliminating the need for dozens of new coal-fired power plants. And more companies, far more, 58%, are setting clear sustainability standards for their suppliers. We know the reach runs to the supply chain. For all of you who are reaching out, who are setting environmental standards, labor standards, making sure the people working in those factories are being treated fairly, those factories are being audited. For the 58% of you who are setting those clear supplier standards, that's extraordinary progress. And 24% are incorporating sustainability performance into executive compensation packages. That's clear progress. We know that money speaks. It is an okay thing. Compensation is a good thing. We ought to compensate the things that are important. Sustainability metrics, whether it's water, whether it's safety, whether it's climate, are crucial for all of us. And companies are adding sustainability to their board levels with sustainability board members, and investors are declaring this is a must. And leading companies, General Mills, The Gap, Driscoll's, and many others, are joined today by Miller Coors and Sungevity on our effort to connect the drops, our campaign to bring water leaders into the water fight, supporting some of the most important policies in California. And Bank of America committed just last week to reduce their credit exposure to companies focused on coal mining and to do so globally. That on top of their $50 billion commitment to clean energy. There's much positive going forward. Solar power and other clean energy are taking off. $310 billion in investments this year in clean energy, a 16% increase from 2013. And investors in this room are calling on fossil fuel companies to disclose their stranded assets and look at the financial implications. And some of the largest institutional investors in this room, like CalSTRS and CalPERS and New York State Common and New York City funds, are making the case that companies in their portfolios that are managing sustainability risks and governing, looking at sustainability, are the best managed companies they see. And on the policy front, we're seeing progress as well. The US-China deal, where China is investing $89 billion in renewables, and where they're standing with the US as we go to Paris to act, is a major sign of progress. And the domestic front as well. Many said nobody would support the EPA's Clean Power Plan, and 250 companies stood with us recently to do so. Somehow the EPA has been demonized as the agency to hate. For me, when I think about Abe and Jesse, my children and your children, there's an agency that's protecting our air and our water. For me, that's an agency to value, and that the work they do is compelling. Last month on Earth Day, this was a perfect coming together of what Ceres is about. Sometimes on Earth Day, I'm sure all of you are giving talks within your companies, at your investment houses. I usually stand on the Mall in Washington, D.C. with 200,000 people. This Earth Day, I was at the New York Stock Exchange with a group of others ringing the opening bell, making the case for the perfect marriage between environmentalism and capitalism. These issues are no longer separate. They have no business being considered separate. At Ceres, with all of us, we look at how to integrate sustainability into capital markets and how to make it work. And together we can make it work. We can build a sustainable economy. All of us in this room, every one of us, get to decide. We get to decide whether 2015 will be the year that the tide turned for the economy and the environment, because finally enough people were willing to admit that they are inextricably linked. I would like to say, and I know I'll feel it more walking out of here than walking in, the answer is that yes, we will make 2015 the year to turn the tide. There's still much to do. We've got to change the conversation. Some believe climate change is still an environmental issue. We have got to change the debate. You are the ones who will be listened to. This is not a blue state, red state issue. This is not about D's versus R's. It is not about Fargo, North Dakota versus Berkeley, California, or conservatives versus progressives. It is about all of us. These issues have no title, they have no political affiliation, they only have a need for progress and for change. And the people who are being listened to call for that change, are the people in this room. When we are up on the Hill with leaders of the largest companies and investment firms, people stop and listen. We can change this debate. You are able to change this debate. The debate will start moving forward, but we need every one of you. And we need $1 trillion a year, we're told, to invest in a clean energy future. The people in this room have the power as well to make that reality. Your efforts to integrate sustainability from the boardroom to the supply chain, in your factories, with your buildings, with what goes into your products and how to treat your workers, those efforts are part of building this future. If you're here at this Ceres conference, I know you're taking on these challenges. I know you can make the difference in changing the message and scaling up investments, in making the critical transition to a low-carbon future, to protecting human rights across your supply chains, and to valuing every drop of precious water. The work you do, the power of your innovation, your collaboration, the fact that you're here today willing to roll up your sleeves and come up with solutions is frankly what gives me hope. When I think about my kids, Abe and Jesse, and they as proxies for your kids, I think about our responsibility to build a future, to build an economy, to give them a world that we have. The people in this room can do it. We're not one, we're not individuals, we're not only pushing the rock up the hill, we are together a community who can make it happen. So that for all that you do every day, for the battles we're going to take on over the next year and 2 years and 3 years, for the disagreements we're going to have and the agreements we're going to make, I thank you for your extraordinary work, your leadership, your vision, and your will to build a better future. I thank each and every one of you for taking the time. I'll look forward to the next 2 days. It is a great start to 2 days of rolling up our sleeves. And now, before I go further, it is important, it's crucial, and my supreme pleasure to also thank our sponsors who made this conference possible. To all of you who have stepped up, Ceres is quite grateful to you. To our convening sponsor, Bank of America, thank you very much. And to our welcoming sponsor, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, we're delighted to be here in California. Thank you for welcoming us. And to Intel Corporation, our technology sponsor, there is no question technology is where it's at to solve these problems. And to our lead sponsors, JP Morgan Chase & Company, Wells Fargo, Prudential, Bloomberg, to all of you, it is important, we are most appreciative to be able to bring this group together and to do the kind of work we do. We are a nonprofit, we are an advocacy group. We work together, we know, with every company that we work with. We're gonna push, we're gonna cajole, we're gonna do so respectfully, we're gonna do so in partnership, but we're gonna keep pushing. As an advocacy group, it's our job to keep doing that. The challenges are great. Running a nonprofit is always a bigger challenge every day, and so while we're here, we're gonna try and see if we could raise another $25,000 to help support the work Ceres does. Our staff will make sure that you know how you could do that and where you could do that. But it is the right time to dig in and think about the next 2 days. We've got some of the greatest thought leaders that exist both in this country and beyond. When I think about Amory Lovins, 40 years ago I listened to him. I thought he was too smart then. I probably still think he's too smart. I don't understand everything he says, but this guy is a visionary. He is the guy who has looked at the energy problems we face. He called them 40 years ago and has the idea for how to get to the solutions. I look forward to hearing Amory. And to Gina McCarthy, she is an on-the-ground regulator. She is the head of the EPA. The EPA is not everybody's favorite agency. The EPA is trying to do a great job. She is reaching out to business leaders, to financial leaders. She wants to get it right and do what you need. And for our other plenaries on water, on renewable energy, on the circular economy, which I'm going to introduce our key speaker on in a minute, I think you'll hear concepts and ideas, all of which you're already touching and doing. Many of them have different names in your own companies, but these ideas are about how we can get to scale. I hope for the next 2 days you find it valuable, you find it compelling, you find it interesting, and let me be clear, it will not stop when we walk out of here at 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow. We will stay with it, with our partnerships with each of you, to do what it takes to build a sustainable economy. Now, it's my honor, my great privilege, to introduce our first keynote speaker, Dame Ellen MacArthur. Ellen's story is an inspiring one. The challenges she faced while sailing solo around the world, something I could barely imagine, sailing solo around the world, using precious resources like food and water carefully, are a micro example of the challenges facing humanity today. Ellen is here to speak to us about navigating the circular economy and making a change in the way we sell and consume in order to build a more sustainable future. Some of you are doing pieces of this. You may not call it a circular economy. You may have recycling programs that encompass a piece of this. But we've got to look at the full picture, and Ellen is just the person to tell us about it. And then my board member and good friend Jack Enos, the CEO of California State Teachers Retirement System, will be up and join Ellen on stage and start a conversation, seeing if we can engage Ellen in a deeper discussion on how to make this work for the kind of people in this room. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the next 2 days. Thank you for all that you're doing. Be well.